Erdoğan hits the road for Gaza, Somalia, visits UAE, Ethiopia. Regional issues top the agenda of President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan as he leaves for the United Arab Emirates, UAE, on Monday. On Tuesday, Erdoğan will fly to Ethiopia from Abu Dhabi, his second stopover. Both visits will combine Erdoğan's diplomatic efforts for regional stability with Ankara's efforts to enhance bilateral ties in the Gulf and Africa. In the UAE, where he will hold talks with President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, along with bilateral relations, Erdoğan will discuss diplomacy to end humanitarian drama in Gaza, steps for recovery of the Palestinian enclave, and second stage of U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan. Both countries support the plan. Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan hosted on Saturday Ali Shaf, head of the National Committee for Administration of Gaza. Fidan last month joined counterparts and heads of state as they came together for formal launch of the Board of Peace proposed by Trump. Since 2023, Turkey prioritized ending the conflict in Gaza, specifically the genocide by Israel, which has claimed more than 70,000 Palestinian lives. Ankara has joined almost all international initiatives to stop the bloodshed and is among main opponents of Israel, which enjoys international support. As a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas holds despite Israel's repeated lethal violations, the international community strives to move forward the recovery initiative in the enclave, which is a pale shade of itself after relentless Israel attacks that razed residential buildings to the ground all across the city. Erdoğan is also expected to raise the issue of stability and development in Syria, which was liberated from oppressive Ba'athist regime in 2024. The president will highlight the need to support the new Syrian administration during his UAE visit, Turkish media outlets reported over the weekend. In addition, he will discuss the importance of territorial integrity of Yemen and Somalia. The UAE joined an international coalition in 2015 against Houthi rebels, but recent developments demonstrate that the coalition, which included Saudi Arabia, has fractured. A group supported by the UAE launched an offensive against the government supported by Saudi Arabia last December. Somalia's territorial integrity also matters for Turkey, which is a major partner of Mogadishu, especially in the wake of Israel's controversial recognition of breakaway Somaliland. Ankara has joined other countries to condemn the recognition by its major foe in the Middle East, which looks to expand its footprint in Africa, where Turkey also emerged as a key actor in past 2 decades under the leadership of President Erdoğan. The president visited Riyadh and Cairo earlier this month, prompting speculation that Turkey took side of the UAE rival Saudi Arabia amid the growing regional rivalry. Erdoğan's visit on Monday is expected to dispel these rumors. Although Ankara had relatively strained relations with both countries in the past decade, ties were improved in the past 2 years, thanks to Turkey's pragmatic diplomacy. Erdoğan's July 2023 visit to the UAE marked a new milestone in relations as 2 countries decided to set up a high-level strategic council, essentially recognizing each other as strategic partners. Since then, commercial relations between the 2 countries significantly increased. Sheikh Mohammed was guest of Erdoğan last July for co-chairing the first meeting of the council, after Erdoğan's last visit to his country in February 2024. The UAE is Turkey's biggest trade partner in the Gulf, and bilateral trade volume was about $16 billion in 2024. The 2 countries aim to increase it to $20 billion in short term and $40 billion in the medium term. Turkey and the UAE laid the foundation for a comprehensive economic partnership deal during Erdoğan's 2022 visit to Abu Dhabi, and the deal came into force in September 2023, strengthening commercial deals. The 2 countries implemented new customs regulations for tax discounts, boosting commercial momentum in defense industry, energy, logistics, real estate, and technology. The UAE was the 4th country with most Turkish exports last year. The UAE is also the 7th country with most investments in Turkey. Turkey hosts more than 300 companies with Emirati capital, mostly concentrated on real estate, energy, banking, logistics, and agriculture. Ties with Ethiopia. Erdoğan's visit to Ethiopia will affirm Ankara's commitment to peace between Addis Ababa and Mogadishu. Ethiopia's deal with Somaliland for use of ports and access to sea has triggered a crisis with Somalia. In 2025, Turkey has stepped in and helped two countries sign the Ankara Declaration by hosting their leaders in the Turkish capital, de-escalating tensions in the region. Turkey and Ethiopia boosted their trade volume in 2025 with a 5% increase. Their trade volume currently stands at $253 million. Turkey is among four major investors in the African country.